But I like to believe that the youth, which comprises majority of today's population, doesn't subscribe to that view. And fortunately or unfortunately, as the young member of parliament said, the youth does have a progressive outlook towards it, but the leaders are all clearly not belonging to the segment that they're supposed to represent. So there is, in my opinion, there is a huge mismatch between the electorate and those that are represented, at least from a generation point of view. So I can't expect somebody who's 65 years old to understand how I feel.
Yeah, but you know...
and he clearly is not my representative.
He's clearly not your representative. Is there so you're saying there's a disconnect between what you think and what religious and political leaders feel?
I think our political leaders, majority of them are beyond us, are completely beyond us in a generation gap, Rajdeep, completely.
Okay, is it Ranbir Shaurya generation? I mean, I don't know how old you were when you were in 1992, but do you believe there's a generation? It's actually a generational change that we've seen in the last week 20. Here in this country. You were 20 then. Okay, so you were relatively young. So, and you're still relatively young, but do you believe there's a generational change that if 50 or 60% of India is under the age of 35, they were what, hardly 16 or 17 when in 1992, and it's that generation which is in decision making which wants to move on?
I agree. I think it's today's youth is pretty disconnected from that that kind of politics, or rather wants to disconnect itself from that kind of politics because it recognizes the futility of the whole process. You can go on nitpicking about this, you can go on litigating about this for all time to come until you are ready to actually talk to your how do I put it, your fellow citizens and your own people about what their needs are and how they feel. No relationship works, really. I think
okay, so
I was watching...
So there's a futility. You see a futility. Is there a futility, Shazia? Is there a sense of futility among both communities? As I said, in Uttar Pradesh, in places like Kanpur, is there a face among the young that, yeah, these guys, you know, here is a place, as you said, where there are park cuts, where there are bad roads, that let's get these things...
Exactly, and real questions never get to be asked. You know, we have
But isn't religion important? Isn't religion important?
No, religion is important, but I think there's such a disconnect between the youth. When you look at the middle class youth and the politics, it's almost as if they have nothing to do with each other. And even the younger leaders of different political parties, they just toe the party lines. Handsome is what handsome does. You're talking about youth being different, show it. Let there be a different voice. We as young people should ask, we should ask our religious leaders and political leaders, have fatwas against illiteracy. We should have a Rath Yatra. Go ahead, have a Rath Yatra for clean drinking water. Have a Rath Yatra to make sure 50% of India doesn't defecate out in the open.
Right.
We should go and ask these questions. Have a jihad against corruption. Follow religion, but religion can be used, if it's such an emotive issue, use it for something better. Like Dayanand Saraswati, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, like Sir Syed Ahmad Khan did. So youth is what youth does. Handsome is what, youth is a very simplistic argument. Youth feels differently. What about it? What is the next step?
That's a good point.
It's governance that we are talking about. Young people or young India is more bothered about governance rather than about religion.
You basically want the issues focused back on governance, that religion becomes an issue which is divisive, governance becomes an issue
That's what
that
it has
unites
become
us.
Historically. In the sense, religion otherwise is not. As in, it needs to be practiced. It's
but in this particular instance, it does. You know, yes.
Rajiv, we made it so easy for political parties. They keep us wrapped up with temple and mosque, and we keep taking it. We say, hello, temple, mosque, yeah, right, dude, got it. But what next? Next time we come for chanda, for mandir, what about the road? What about the potholes? Are we asking the questions? We need to ask those questions and then India will move on.
You know, I want to put this to Rahul Ishwaran and to Hamidullah Saeed, because politicians and religious leaders, and in a sense you represent both, are coming under fire. Hamidullah Saeed, why does, you know, Rahul Gandhi talks about an India beyond Ayodhya, that the real issues are infrastructure, but down there your party still seems caught in an old mindset at times. We don't see that dramatic change in your party leaders because most of them are above the age of 60. You need a younger leadership which is right down the line. It can't be just one Rahul Gandhi making one speech somewhere.
You see, just now you mentioned that the older generation should be discarded and younger generation should be given an opportunity.
Yes.
And before this, you said that Dr. Manmohan Singh was instrumental in improving our economy. So you are contradicting yourself.
No, I'm not. Your cabinet has, what, hardly one or two ministers who are born after 1947. Your cabinet ministers. You know, what is the point in having a cabinet which is old and a country which is young? I think that's the problem. And the old politicians seem to have an old mindset. that's the concern I think that Shazia is voicing here.
So Rajdeep, it is the job of the members of parliament and legislators to question the policy of the government in the parliament.
But that doesn't.
So there are a lot of young MPs now. They can question the policy of the government in the parliament.
But they have to toe the party line.
That's right. They toe the party line. You think that they are too conservative? Rahul Ishwaran, the point is.
So what changes?
Yes.
How do you move to the next level?
Yes, Rahul Ishwaran.
One second, Rajit.
Yes.
2 days ago,
Yes.
your own expert panel, Sri Yogendra Yadav, said in your own channel, urban youth is going to be the center of religiosity. I am not saying religion is the end of it.
Right.
All problems should be discussed, issues of development, issues of water, and it has become some kind of a fashionable thing to say all politicians are bad, all religious spiritual leaders are bad. That's a very blind statement. Don't be blinded by it.
Right. Shazia, Ilmi, Vimlendu, there is a point there, isn't it?
No, but there's no point. He's right. I mean, you can't be so cynical. We say we are the young India. We care about our reality TV. We care about Bollywood. We are hip and we are happening. And we care about multiplexes. And we're looking at new jobs. But listen, we have to ask the right questions. We have to be involved in politics.
No, but is it about
nothing to do with politicians are bad.
Are we saying Gul
They're
Panag?
old, they're bad.
Are we saying Gul Panag that the young if they want India to truly mature?
Yes.
And not bothering.
They have to be involved.
They have to be involved.
They can't sit on the arena, on the edge of the arena and comment.
No,
They've got to get into the driving seat.
No, but are they, Gul Panag, is there a sense of, that there's a feeling, particularly in cities like Bombay, or Mumbai, that you're located physically in Mumbai, but your mind is in Manhattan. And Ayodhya becomes an avoidable distraction in your worldview.
My mind is very much in Delhi, Rajdeep, and I think lots of people think like me. There are lots of people who are sensitive. There are lots of people who want to see change, and there are lots of people who want to be that change. Now, how easy is the political system going to make it for these youth to be part of that change is what needs to be seen.
No, but the question is that, I also wonder whether it is that the fact that the economy opened up, aspirations have opened up. Everybody, I would rather have a good life now because I see it around me than get caught in Ayodhya. Is that the big change you think? Money has in a sense conquered mandir and masjid.
Of course. See, one is, of course, the way young India does not look at politicians in that respectful way and therefore religious leaders in that respectful way. And the other is to look at how young India has also become very, very self-centric and therefore...
It's a Me Too generation. It's a generation that it doesn't want issues like Ayodhya to interrupt its path up.
That's right. So young India is actually more bothered about their own issues, their own success, their own aspirations, and not so much about what happens in Ayodhya. And the reason why we are talking about this is that in the Indian politics does not allow young people to participate, contribute in the main democratic framework.
Okay, I'm going to ask right round the panel, ask you, if you had a choice, what would you do with this disputed site in Ayodhya? I'm going to go right round the panel to each and every one of you and ask you this question. First to you, Ranveer Shore. If you had a choice with this disputed site in Ayodhya, what would you like the government of India or the trust, the Nirmohi Akhada or the Sunni Waqf Board to do with that land? What would you ideally like them to do with that land?
I would say here and now, stop all litigation about this, accept the court's verdict, talk to each other, help each other, what you ought to be doing in the first place.
No, but what would you like on the land? What would you like to see being built on the land? Would you like to see a mandir and a masjid being built on the land? Would you like to see a hospital, a school, or just the land being left vacant? What would you like to see on that land?
Oh, well, I think a national monument is in order. After all the all the stuff that's gone down there.
National monument. Hamidullah Saeed, what would you like to see?
I would like to see peace and tranquility.
You'd like to see peace. Okay, spoken like a politician, very diplomatic. Rahul Ishwaran, what would you like to see?
Rajit, very precise suggestion I would like to have.
Yes.
I would like Hindus to start the negotiation process and give up claims for any other places if they have. Let this be a good beginning. And request the Muslim brethren to help build a Ram temple. It is like Mecca or Jerusalem, but don't make it a gloating offense on them, or don't belittle them, or don't be aggressive. Request them, start the negotiation process, let Hindus begin it.
Okay, let Hindus begin it. Shazia, Ilmi, what would you like to see on this site?
Well, a temple and a mosque together, along with a school or university, where people come and study about secularism, study different sciences, and a higher seat of learning.
The same thing, provided you don't give the construction work to Kalmadi.
Provided you don't give the work to Kalmadi, but that might collapse. Gul Panag, what would you like to see?
Well, I have to concur with Shazia. I'd like to see a school or an educational institution that comes out of reconciliation between both the Hindu and the Muslim faction, because that to me is the need of the hour. We need to educate our people and not definitely build temples and mosques.
So maybe an interfaith school.
Yes, there's a very interesting kavita which says that, मंदिर मस्जिद गिरजा घर में बांट दिया भगवान को, धरती बाटी सागर बाटा, मत बांटो इंसान को. So we've done all the division. The last thing that we possibly could have come to is 1/3 of that land, and that should ideally bring peace, and therefore there should be no politics of separation anymore.
You want a quick last word? Quick last word. You get the benefit of being in the studio. One quick last word.
Yes, I think it's great what you're saying, but I think let's stop talking in terms of platitudes. In lovely poetry, sher-o-shairi, let's ask hard questions. Every time a politician talks about, any politician about Mandir Masjid says, yes dude, what next? What about the potholes? What about the public laboratories? Let's ask asking the right questions.
Any politician discussing religion should be boycotted unless they talk development.
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying the Shahi Imams, the Praveen Togadia should be boycotted on both communities, whether it's Muslim or okay, fair enough. I think.
कसम राम की खाते हैं, कसम अल्लाह की खाते हैं, एक शानदार भारत बनाएंगे.
Okay, that's also shairi. That's a shairi again. That's a shairi again. But
we need poetry and prose.
Okay, Ranveer Shore, Hamidullah Saeed, Bimlendu Jha, Shazia Ilmi, Gul Panag, Rahul Ishwaran, appreciate your joining us on this debate, refreshing from all the legal battles that we've been having over the last 24 hours. Well, what are you, the viewers, saying? IBNlive.com/blaze. Ahmadi writes in, yes, India of today has moved well beyond the India of 1992, when Ayodhya was the central theme of existence for many people. Today's young generation is far more mature and more exposed to the world to be bothered about rights over a place of worship. Where do we stand? This is the editor's take here on CNN IBN. This is where we stand on this issue when it comes to young India. India has indeed, not just young India, shown remarkable fortitude in keeping the peace after the Ayodhya verdict. We are an aspirational society. Religion does matter, but our ambitions now go well beyond religious identities. Young India wants to look ahead. The past is seen as a burden. Pity our netas who don't always feel the same. Okay, from that, let's get all there's other top sport for joining us. Well, that's all we have this weekend.